all, welcome back. This is the third lesson of Module 2, Transportation Engineering 2. In this lesson, we will be discussing about rail fastenings. Come, let's have a discussion on it. Rail fastenings. We all know that in every construction or in every civil engineering wonders, the joints are considered to be the weakest part. Similarly, in the railway tracks, the rail joints are considered as the weakest part. So we have to ensure these rail joints are safe enough to carry the huge dynamic loads coming from the train. In order to fix these rails in its proper position and to withstand or to transfer the load coming on it properly to the ground, we have to fix these tracks in right position. For that, we depend on the rail fastenings. The rail fastenings are used to keep the rails in proper position and to set the points and crossings properly. Otherwise, it will move when the huge load came over on it. That should not be happen. So, in order to avoid the risk caused by these dynamic loads, we have to fix these rails properly. The rail fastenings link the rail end rails and fix the rails either on chairs fixed to the sleepers or directly on the sleepers. The important fittings that we use to fix these rails are key plates, spikes, bolts, chairs, keys, blocks and plates. So in the following slides we will discuss in detail about what these fittings are. The first one is fish plates. You can see the fish plate in the figure. It is generally used to connect the two rails. So this is considered as a joint. So we have to ensure the safety in these joints. So we will connect the two pieces of rails using this fish plate. So fish plates are used in rail joints to maintain the continuity of the rails and to allow for any expansion or contraction of rail caused by temperature variations. So we know that during winter season the metals will contract and during the summer season it will expand. So there should be enough space between the two pieces in order to avoid the cracks caused by these contractions or expansions. So the minimum gap should be maintained, but it should not be separated wide apart. So we have to ensure the safety in these type of joints. So for that we use fish plates to connect these two pieces of rails. So while connecting these two pieces of rails using fish plates, it ensures the continuity of the rails. Second fitting is spikes. The spikes are nail-like structures, or we can simply say a large nail with an offset head. These spikes are used to hold the rails to the wooden sleepers. These spikes will be hammered into the sleepers in order to fix the rails firmly with the sleepers. They are used with or without the bearing plates below the rails. So two types of spikes are generally used, dog spikes and screw spikes. So dog spikes are generally used in the wooden sleepers and the screw types are used generally on the concrete or metal sleepers. The third type of fitting that we use to connect the rails are bolts. We all know about bolts and we are familiar with these terms, bolts and nuts, from the design of steel structures. So bolts are used for fixing various track components in position. So you can see the bolts in the figure. So these are considered as the bolts. Not considered, these are the bolts used in the rails to fix the components. And the next one is chair. So what are chairs? Chairs are generally wooden pieces or metallic pieces used for holding double-headed and bull-headed rails. We know what are the double-headed rails and bull-headed rails. So we have there we use key and chair arrangement to fix the rails with the sleepers. So there we use a piece of wood as key, and we used to connect the rail with that key, and the key rests on these chairs. So these are termed as chairs. So that these chairs will help to fix the rails with the sleepers. So these are the sleepers, and we fix the rails with the sleepers with the help of these chairs. The screws or nuts will be inserted in this hole, and thereby we fix the rails with the sleepers. Sorry for the mistake that I previously mentioned that the chairs are pieces of woods. Chairs are not the pieces of woods, they are metallic pieces, and they are used to connect the key and rail with the sleepers. And next one is keys. Keys are the wooden pieces or metallic pieces used to connect the rails and the chair. So this is a chair and this is a rail, and there will be a gap between the rail and the chair, so the gap is filled with the help of these keys. Generally the keys will be timber pieces or steel pieces. So they are small tapered pieces of timber or steel to fix the rail to the chair. So the gap should be filled. So there we will insert a piece of timber or steel to connect the rails with the chair. This is usually used in bull-headed rails and double-headed rails, DH rails and DH rails. The next ones are blocks. So when two rails run very close, small blocks are inserted in between the two rails and bolted to maintain the required distance or spacing. So we may be familiar with these diagrams. We always wonder how these rails are going parallel and how the crossings are possible. So in between these two rails we will place a block called heel block. So you can see the heel blocks here in the figure. So these heel blocks are placed between these two closely running rails, and these blocks were bolted together in order to ensure the safety. So all these are provided on joints. So because the joints are the weakest parts. And the last one is bearing plate. Bearing plates are rectangular plates of mild steel or cast iron and are used below the flat-footed rails to distribute the load on a larger area of timber sleepers or concrete or metallic sleepers. So these plates are provided below the flat-footed rails, and these plates helps to distribute the load to a wider area. So we know that the flat-footed rail, the shape will be like this, and the load to be distributed to a wider area. So we will fix a broad plate just below the flat-footed rails, and these plates will help to distribute the load to a wider area. So thereby proper load transfer can be assured. So these are the different types of rail fastenings that we use to connect the rails. So we discussed earlier that the joints are considered to be the weakest part. We have to ensure enough safety, or we have to give some special care to these weakest parts in order to ensure the proper movement of the train and proper load transfer of the train. Otherwise jerks will happen or even derailment will happen. So we have to avoid these casualties. In order to avoid these casualties, we have to give proper care and examination to these weakest parts. As part of giving more care, we have to provide additional fittings on these joints to ensure the safety. So we used many fasteners to ensure the safety. So we discussed all about the fastening methods and what are the different types of fasteners that we use to connect the rails. So you can expect a sure question from this lecture. They may ask what are the different types of fastenings that are used in the railway track. So that will be an essay question, or it will be a short answer question. So you have to mention all the components that we discussed in this class. So see you with conning of wheels in the next lecture. Till then, bye, take care.